Welcome to Thrive Vision with your host, Dr. Stephanie Ballman.
Hey guys, it is Dr. B here with Thrive Vision, and we are going to be going through on this podcast some really cool information. We're actually starting a series, and we are starting a series on ECO 2025. So ECO is a holistic, well, first of all, it stands for Exponential Clinical Outcomes, and it's put on by one of my favorite companies that we use here in the office called Cellcore. And they've been putting on ECO for, 6-7 years. I think I've been to 6 of them. And it is packed. It's a weekend that is packed full of information. And what happens is holistic practitioners, doctors, and that can be MDs, DOs, naturopaths, DCs, practitioners of other different kinds. We all show up and we spend an entire weekend learning and filling our brains with tons of information. And some of it is review. Some of it, goes through things that we have heard or read or whatever, previously different things that we have learned. But it's definitely nice to be refreshed on things that are in your brain and then to learn new things. And then, of course, to have a weekend with your colleagues. And so what we're going to do with this is that we are going to go through some of the different talks, and I'm going to break down some of the information. And we're going to go through this. So we're going to call it the ECO files, which is really, really cool. So let's get started. The first one that we are going to be talking about is going to be toxic load, or the toxic burden on your body. And the toxic burden on your body is incredibly impactful. And the reason is because it's going to bog down every single system in your body, which is going to produce symptoms. And I want to go through some different symptoms that I see in the office often. But I also want to go through, some of the different toxins that we see and how they present and where we can find them. But then also, what can you do about it, right? Like, okay, so you've got toxins, but what do you do about it? So, first of all, some different symptoms that I see in the office, and there's a plethora of different ones, right? I can see low energy. I can see hormone disruption, which can include anything from menstrual cycle disorders for women to we've got pregnancy issues, either maintaining the pregnancy or even trying to get pregnant. This also impacts men, right? It can impact their hormones. It can impact their ability in the trying to get pregnant process. I can see, I think I said fatigue. I can see irritability. I can see pain, joint pain, muscle pain. And don't forget, I am a chiropractor. So I do deal with the nervous system, right? The musculoskeletal system, which is going to be bones, joints, nerves, soft tissue. And so I do see a lot of joint issues. I do see a lot of neurological issues. But outside of that, y'all, I'm also a health coach. Okay. And so for both people and humans, hi. For both humans and animals, sorry, it gets a little confusing when you're talking both of those things. And so I see all kinds of things. I see digestive disruption. I see headaches. I see people with sleep issues. I see people with sinus or seemingly allergy issues, right? I see people with skin issues, liver issues, kidney issues, right? I see so many different outward signs and symptoms of the body saying, hey, please help me. I'm having trouble. And part of the reason that happens is because there is a toxic bucket or a toxic load issue. And so a lot of times what I do is I tell this to my patients, and I know I'm not the only one that uses this analogy. I've heard other people use it, but I like this analogy because it's so easy for people to understand, okay? So we should have 2 buckets. Okay, this bucket over here is going to be all of the things that our body needs, right? It's going to be macronutrients, micronutrients. It's going to be minerals. It's going to be vitamins. It's going to be just a ton of different things that our body needs to be able to function well, to be able to move throughout its environment. And I don't mean move like, muscles are contracting and relaxing, so then joints are moving. That too. But I mean just navigating your environment, right? That takes a lot of work from the body to be able to do that. And so we want to be able to do that well. We should have a bucket that stays full that can handle those things. And so when we do come in contact with different toxins, of all different kinds, right? We'll get into some of those. But when we come in contact with those toxins, the body should have enough of the things in this bucket to be able to handle those things, right? And when we don't, it's because this other bucket is full, right? It is the toxic load is increasing, which then brings down the other bucket, right? So, if y'all remember kind of like the scale of justice, right? So we've got the lady and she's holding the scale and it's that 2-sided scale. It's similar, right? But what we should have on this side are all of the good things. Then on the other side, so think about a seesaw. For those of you who are listening and not watching, right? We want the side that is up on a seesaw to be all of the really good things. And that's helping improve our health and helping bring our health up. Whereas the toxic load side is kind of the downside, right? It's so heavy and it's just full of junk. And what happens when the toxic load bucket gets high is it depletes what is in that good bucket. And then the toxic load bucket begins to overflow and that spills over. And that really has a huge impact on our personal lives, on our work lives. It has, and what I see in the office is, people are coming in and saying, well, my boss has noticed that, my job performance isn't as great as it used to be. My friends are telling me that I'm not as, I don't want to say not as fun because that's really negative, but, maybe you're not wanting to go out as much. My husband or my wife has noticed, my kids have noticed, right? And so there's all of these different things that can have a huge impact, and then you don't feel like doing anything, right? Your motivation goes down, your energy goes down, you don't feel well. You have all of these outward signs and symptoms, some of those that we talked about previously that are happening because this toxic load is too high and it's spilling over into your life. And so what we do here in the office is we help rebalance that, right? And not just rebalance, but we bring down the toxins so that the other bucket is full again. And when you are re-exposed, because you're going to be, right? You're going to be re-exposed because you live on this planet. And there's nowhere that you can live on this planet that you're not going to be exposed to different toxins. And so we want your body to be able to handle its environment in which it lives. Because we should have a symbiotic relationship with our environment, and we should be able to live within that very well. And when we can't, we have problems. Okay, so what I want to do is I've got my book right here, and I just want to read to you guys because I think that these numbers are important and I don't want to get them wrong. So I'm going to read some of these numbers to you. So right here it says that on average, we're exposed to over 700,000 toxins per day. That's a lot. That's a huge impact on that bucket that's supposed to have a whole bunch of things in it, right? So, I'm not super adept at quick mental math, but 700,000 per day times 365 days per year. Okay, so that's a whole bunch. Let's just chalk that up to that's a lot. And it's a huge load on the body. And if that continues year after year after year, people are getting sicker and sicker and sicker. Okay, so there are 10 million tons of toxic chemicals in our environment strictly by industries every single year. There's also 2 million tons of carcinogens that are recognized as carcinogens that are impacting your body, okay? And carcinogens are bad. We know that. And then every second, there's 310 kilograms of toxic chemicals that are released into the air, the land, and your water, okay? And remember, y'all, we are living within this environment, okay? And you're touching your environment all the time, right? You're getting out, you are exposed to the air, you're exposed to the water, you're exposed to the land. And we need to be able to combat these toxins. And there are definitely ways to do that very easily. All right, so we talked a little bit about the different symptoms that I see in the office. And the point of me telling you that was, one, because it's something that you're probably dealing with. And if it's not you that's dealing with it, then you know of somebody. The second point of that is that those symptoms are a multi-system issue. So there's a multi-system effect of the different symptoms that we talked about earlier, right? So let's take energy, for example. So energy is not just, I don't have energy anymore, right? No, it is because the gut is not functioning well. It can be because the brain's not functioning well. It can be because the liver or the kidneys or the heart or muscle tissue or gut motility or the cells of the body are not functioning like they should because they have too much to do, and it prevents them, the toxins prevent them from being able to function in a manner that they were created to function. And so the body's screaming at you like, hey, I'm really tired. I'm tired too when I'm full of toxins, right? I mean, raise your hand. How many of you are tired? I think everybody that is listening or watching this is probably raising their hand. They're tired. Why? We live in such a toxic environment. And so all of the toxins, not only are they going to create symptoms, but then those symptoms get grouped and categorized into what we call a diagnosis, right? So then people are having Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, obesity, they're having diabetes, they're having cancer, they're having, oh gosh, I said the big C word, right? They're having all of these things that are happening to them. And sometimes, quite often actually, it is because the body is overrun with different toxins. So let's get into some of the different toxins that we see, where they come from, etc., etc. So anything can be a toxin, right? Too much of a good thing sometimes is too much of a good thing. But we've got heavy metals, we've got chemicals, we've got immune challenges, which can include bacteria, it can include parasites, it can include viruses, it can include Lyme, mold, other microtoxins, yeast, fungus. It can be co-infections of those things. It can be foods. It can be scars on the body. It can be different environmental factors. It can be V's, or as I like to say stab and jabs, right? It can be emotional issues. It can be spiritual issues. It can be stress. It can be hormones, right? One organ can cause another organ not to be in communication like it should. And so this organ is stressed, but this one's having the problem, right? So there's all kinds of different ways that stress can show up and stress can impact the body. And these toxins are going to have an impact. Okay, so some different heavy metals that I see in the office are going to be mercury, is going to be cadmium, it's going to be arsenic. It can also be thallium, right? There's a lot of different ones, but that's what I see a lot of. And let's go over arsenic. So some different places that arsenic comes from is going to be different foods, pesticides, waters, paint, cosmetics, pigments, fungicides, wood preservatives, which FYI is also used in food. And then it can also be in commercial chicken feed. So guess what? They're not just poisoning you, but they're poisoning the food that you're eating and consuming for food, right? They're poisoning the food that your food is eating. And then down the line, you're getting the poison too. So these are just some examples, y'all. Okay, so we've talked about some different environmental toxins, or not just environmental toxins, but toxins in general, and how they can impact your health. So what do you do about it? And this is something that I am highly specialized in and highly skilled in, and that I've been doing for, 15 plus years, is finding these root cause issues, finding the toxins and finding the things that are impacting your body, where, and then how to remove them from your body in a safe and effective manner that does not include drugs or surgery, that is overseen by a highly skilled and highly educated practitioner that can make sure that your body is removing these toxins in a way that is not going to overload your system, that's going to allow your body to heal and get better, right? Getting better is amazing. We want you getting better, but I also want you guys getting better with the right things. And that's going to include education from a practitioner that knows what they're doing. It's going to include education about supplements that actually work and that aren't full of synthetics and aren't full of fillers that you're just wasting your money on, and it's too much. That's just adding to the toxic burden, right, for your body to get rid of. So you need to be working with someone that knows exactly what they're doing. And we help a lot of people all over the United States and all over the world with these issues, because it's not just a problem here in the United States. I've got people that live in South America, people that live in Mexico, people that live in Europe, and all over the United States that we work with to help improve their health and bring their toxic burden down, so that bucket that God gave you to use so that you can manage your environment work like it should be working. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm Dr. Ballman here on the podcast Thrive Vision, where we had our very first Eco 25, the Eco Files. And like I said, we are going to be going through this. I just bumped it really hard. Sorry. We are going to be going through different things from Eco so that we can bring this knowledge to you and how it's impacting your life, and then what we can do to work together to help you improve your health, because being intentionally disruptive is a really wonderful thing when you're working with somebody that knows exactly what they're doing. So here is our number right here that you can call our human number. It is 325-703-6506, or I also am a pet health coach for animals. And while we're on the topic, your animals are living in the environment too. And maybe this is a whole separate podcast that we do about animals and their environment, but they have a toxic load burden too that they are dealing with. So I work with a lot of different animals and all over the world, and they're doing really great. In fact, success story is I have some wonderful people that live out in California, and their animal was having seizures. We decreased that toxic load, and their animal has stopped having seizures, which is amazing. So give me a call. Here is the animal number. I'm not really good at this. Okay, so here's that animal number right here on the bottom. Humans up here on the top. Make sure you give us a call so that we can get you on the schedule and help you improve your life, improve the life of your animals. I also want to make sure that you are checking out our website. So you can go to thriveholistic.net, and then you can see these different things here. We've got Wrinkle Revolution. All right, so here's different ways that you can follow us. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on TikTok. You can follow us on X, and you can follow us on YouTube. Make sure you follow us. You can also come into the office. You can follow us there too. Thank you so much. And if you guys have questions, make sure you let us know, because we want to help you help yourself as best as possible. I'm Dr. B, and thank you for joining us on Thrive Vision.